The sharp ring of the doorbell cut through Brynlee's frantic typing as she realized too late that her desperate plea for formula had been sent not to the exhausted moms group chat but straight to Lyla, the woman whose heart she had shattered a decade earlier and sworn she would never contact again. Before Brynlee could even drop the phone, the front door of her modest California bungalow swung open to reveal Lyla standing there, tall, elegant, and impossibly composed in a tailored black coat, her blonde hair catching the twilight glow while she balanced 3 large cases of premium organic baby formula like they weighed nothing, her blue eyes locking onto Brynlee's with a storm of triumph, pain, and something far more dangerous as she said softly, "I want to be a mother with you, sis." Brynlee's knees nearly buckled. The toddler Mia, 2 years old and freshly adopted, let out a curious gurgle from behind her legs, clutching a stuffed rabbit. "Lyla, what are you even doing here?" Brynlee managed, her voice cracking under the weight of 10 years of buried guilt. Lyla stepped forward without waiting for an invitation, setting the heavy boxes on the porch with a soft thud. "You texted me, Bryn. Not some random mom forum. You said your little girl needed special formula, and you were out of options at midnight. I own the largest organic baby nutrition company on the West Coast. Did you really think I'd just wire money and disappear?" A flash of memory hit Brynlee like lightning. College dorm room in WU 2013, Lyla's laughter echoing as they shared cheap ramen and secrets under string lights. Back then Lyla had been the brilliant scholarship kid with big dreams, and Brynlee the cautious Midwest transplant terrified of her own feelings. They had fallen hard and fast, stolen kisses in the library, hidden weekends in cheap motels, until Brynlee's older sister found the messages and the family intervention began. "It's just a phase, you're confusing friendship with something sinful," her mother had sobbed on the phone. Brynlee had caved. She had called Lyla that final night, voice shaking. "I was never really gay, it was a mistake, I'm sorry." Then blocked every number and moved across the country. The lie had cost her everything, including the woman now standing on her porch like fate had finally caught up. Lyla's gaze softened, but only slightly. "I drove straight from the office in San Francisco. 3 hours. Because the woman who broke me still matters enough that I couldn't ignore her reaching out even by accident." She knelt slowly to Mia's eye level, smiling gently. "Hi, sweet girl. I brought the good stuff, no weird additives." Mia reached out, trusting in that innocent way only toddlers can, and Brynlee felt her chest tighten. This was the main conflict, the one she had spent years running from. The past she had denied was now literally on her doorstep, demanding a place in the family she had built alone. Inside the small living room, Lyla moved with quiet efficiency, unpacking the formula, while Brynlee's hands shook, pouring water. "You don't have to do this," Brynlee whispered. Lyla looked up, her expression unreadable. "I know, but I want to. And not just for tonight." The words hung heavy between them. Brynlee's phone buzzed. Her sister Sarah texting again about the upcoming family visit. If Sarah saw Lyla here, the secret Brynlee had guarded for 10 years would explode. The confrontation hadn't even started, and already the walls were closing in. By the time Mia was fed and asleep in her crib, the tension in the living room had thickened into something almost unbearable. Lyla sat on the edge of the worn couch, looking far too polished for the modest space, while Brynlee paced, refusing to meet those knowing eyes. "You can't just show up after 10 years and announce you want to co-parent my daughter," Brynlee said, her voice low but sharp. Lyla tilted her head the way she always had when dissecting a problem. "Why not? You reached out. Accident or not, it opened the door. And I never stopped watching for any sign that you might need me." The confession landed like a stone in still water. Brynlee froze. In the silence, another memory surged uninvited. Graduation night 2014, the two of them hidden on the rooftop of Lyla's dorm, Lyla whispering, "One day I'm going to build something huge and we'll do it together, you and me against the world." Brynlee had kissed her then, hard and desperate, believing it. 3 weeks later, the family ultimatum arrived. Come home, deny everything, or lose them forever. She had chosen the lie. Now here was Lyla, richer than Brynlee could have imagined, CEO of a company that supplied half the hospitals in California, still using that same quiet intensity. "I have a life now," Brynlee said, gesturing at the scattered toys and adoption papers on the coffee table. "Mia's mine. I went through 2 years of waiting lists, interviews, home studies, everything alone. My family finally accepted me as a single mom. They don't know about us. They can never know." Lyla's laugh was soft and bitter. "They never knew because you made sure of it. You told them I was just a roommate. You told me I was a mistake. And yet here we are because you still have my number saved under L like some ghost you couldn't delete. Outside, a car door slammed. Brynlee's stomach dropped. Through the window she saw her sister Sarah's SUV pulling up unannounced the way Sarah always did when she sensed trouble. You need to hide, Brynlee hissed, panic rising. Lyla stood slowly, shaking her head. No more hiding, Bryn. Not for me. Not anymore. The doorbell rang again. Sarah's voice carried through the wood. Bryn, open up, I brought that casserole you like, and we need to talk about Mom's birthday. The door opened before Brynlee could stop it. Sarah stepped in, eyes widening at the sight of Lyla, the expensive coat, the half-unpacked formula boxes. Who the hell is this? Sarah demanded. Lyla extended a hand, calm as ever. Lyla Voss. Old friend from college. I was just dropping off some supplies for Mia. Sarah's face paled as recognition dawned. She had seen the old photos once before, the ones Brynlee claimed were deleted. You're that girl. The one who the sentence hung unfinished, but the accusation was clear. In that moment Brynlee felt the first crack in the life she had so carefully rebuilt. The secret was no longer buried and the judgment was already beginning. Sarah's voice dropped to a furious whisper once Lyla stepped outside to give them space. Are you insane? After everything Mom and Dad went through to get you straight after the church counseling, the tears, you're letting her back in? With a child in the house? Brynlee's hands clenched. The guilt she had carried for years suddenly felt suffocating. Lyla waited on the porch, visible through the window, her silhouette a reminder that the past was done waiting. The argument with Sarah stretched late into the night, ending only when Brynlee practically pushed her sister out the door with promises she didn't know if she could keep. When the house finally fell quiet, Lyla returned from the porch carrying the last box. She hates me, Lyla said simply, no self-pity, just fact. Brynlee sank onto the couch, head in hands. She hates what I was. What we were. And now she's going to tell Mom, and the whole family will descend like it's 2014 all over again. Lyla sat beside her close enough that Brynlee could smell the faint citrus of her perfume, the same one from college. Then maybe it's time they heard the truth. You denied us once, Bryn. You chose their approval over what we had. I spent years building walls after that night you called me a mistake. I built a company instead of a life. But I never stopped loving the girl who kissed me like the world was ending. The words cracked something deep inside Brynlee. Another flashback hit harder this time. The breakup call, Brynlee's voice cold and rehearsed. I'm dating a guy now, Lyla, please don't call me again. The lie had tasted like ash then, and it still did. Mia stirred in her crib, letting out a small cry. Both women moved at once instinctively, and their hands brushed, reaching for the same bottle. The touch sent electricity through Brynlee's arm. I can't do this, she whispered. I have Mia to think about. The adoption agency, the neighbors, the PDA. If they find out that I lied all these years, they could question everything. Lyla's eyes flashed. Or they could see that a child deserves every ounce of love available. Two moms aren't a scandal, Bryn, they're a family. The next morning brought the first real confrontation. Brynlee's phone exploded with messages. Sarah had already called their mother. Come home this weekend, the text read. We need to talk about your choices. Lyla made breakfast like she belonged there, flipping pancakes while Mia clapped from her high chair. I'm not leaving, Lyla said quietly. Not unless you tell me to. But I think you won't. Brynlee watched her ex move around the kitchen with effortless grace, and felt the old longing rise like a tide she had spent years pushing back. The community judgment was coming faster than she expected. A neighbor had already texted asking about the fancy car that stayed overnight. Whispers were starting, and Brynlee knew how small towns worked even in California. By afternoon, the first direct attack arrived in the form of a call from their old college acquaintance, now a local blogger. Is it true Lyla Voss, the billionaire, is back in your life? The voice asked. Brynlee hung up, heart pounding. Lyla took the phone gently. Let them talk. We'll face it together if you'll let me. The offer hung between them, heavy with possibility and terror. Brynlee's guilt twisted tighter. She had caused this by keeping that number, by sending that text, by never truly letting go. The weekend family summit was unavoidable. Brynlee drove to her parents' house in the valley with Mia in the back seat, and Lyla following in her sleek black Tesla, the contrast between their worlds never more obvious. Her mother opened the door, eyes red from crying. How could you, Brynlee? After all the prayers we said for you. Inside the living room her father sat stone-faced, Sarah glaring from the corner. Lyla stood beside Brynlee uninvited, but unmovable. I'm not here to fight, Lyla said, voice steady. I'm here because your daughter reached out and I still care. The accusations flew fast. You corrupted her, her mother spat at Lyla. She was normal until college. Brynlee felt the old shame flood back, the same shame that had made her deny everything 10 years ago. But this time something shifted. Watching Lyla absorb the insults without flinching, Brynlee saw the woman she had once loved standing tall while she herself had crumbled. Stop, Brynlee said suddenly, voice stronger than she felt. Lyla didn't corrupt anyone. I loved her. The sentence died, but the damage was done. Her father stood. Get out, both of you. And think about what this means for Mia. No judge will let a confused woman raise a child like this. The drive home was silent until Mia fell asleep. Then Lyla pulled over on a quiet roadside. You almost said it, she whispered. You almost admitted it in front of them. Brynlee's tears came then, hot and unstoppable. I was so scared back then. They threatened to cut me off, disown me, send me to that camp. I thought if I just pretended hard enough the feelings would die. Lyla reached across the console, wiping a tear with her thumb, the gesture so tender it hurt. They didn't die. They waited. And now your family is threatening custody, challenges social services, whispers at Mia's daycare. All because I showed up. That night back home, the second major confrontation erupted between Brynlee and Lyla alone. You should have stayed away, Brynlee yelled, exhaustion and fear fueling the words. I was managing. Mia was safe. Lyla's eyes blazed. Safe? You were drowning in single-parent bills and guilt. I read every article about your adoption journey, Bryn. I donated anonymously to the agency that placed Mia, because I couldn't stop caring. You don't get to push me away again and call it protection. The fight ended with them inches apart, breathing hard, the air charged with 10 years of unsaid things. Brynlee kissed her first, desperate and clumsy like the college girl she once was. Lyla pulled back just enough to whisper, not like this. Not until you choose me without guilt. The community storm hit midweek. Someone at Mia's daycare had seen the news clip about Billionaire Lyla Voss spotted in quiet suburb with mystery woman and child. And suddenly playdates canceled, PDA emails arrived full of concern. Brynlee's boss at the marketing firm suggested she take leave for family reasons. The moral conflict clawed at her daily. Was she selfish for wanting this second chance, or selfish for denying Mia a second parent who clearly adored her? Guilt kept her awake, replaying every lie she had told her family, every time she had smiled at church while dying inside. Lyla stayed through all of it, cooking meals, helping with Mia's bedtime routine, and quietly transferring money into Brynlee's account without asking. It's not charity, she insisted when Brynlee protested. It's partnership. The kind we should have had years ago. Flashbacks came relentlessly, now triggered by small things. The way Lyla hummed while folding tiny clothes, the same lullaby she had sung to Brynlee during finals week. In one vivid memory, they had planned a future apartment in Brooklyn, 2 cats, matching rings. Brynlee had thrown it all away with one phone call. The biggest confrontation came on Thursday when Brynlee's parents arrived unannounced with a lawyer in tow. We're filing for temporary custody, her mother announced, voice trembling but determined. Until you get help for whatever this is. Lyla stepped between them, calm but steel-edged. You'll lose. I have the best attorneys in the state and proof that Brynlee is an exemplary mother. But more importantly, you'll lose your daughter forever if you force her to choose between family and love again. The lawyer hesitated, seeing the billionaire's resources. Brynlee finally found her voice. I'm not confused. I'm gay. I always was. And I'm done apologizing for it. Her parents left, stunned silence following them like a shadow. That evening Brynlee and Lyla sat on the back porch, Mia asleep inside. I was wrong, Brynlee said, tears streaming. 10 years ago I chose fear. I left you bleeding and I bled too. I don't deserve a second chance, but I'm begging for one. Lyla pulled her close, foreheads touching. You deserve it, Bryn. We both do. But redemption isn't free. We'll fight the world together now, no more hiding. The final weeks blurred into a whirlwind of lawyers' paperwork and quiet victories. Lyla's team crushed the custody threat before it reached court. The community whispers faded when local news ran a positive story about Billionaire steps in to support adoptive single mom, framing it as modern family success. Brynlee's family remained distant, but Sarah sent a single text, "I'm trying to understand." For Mia. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was a crack in the wall. One crisp evening, Lyla proposed properly on the same porch where everything had begun. No ring, just a simple key to a larger house nearby and a promise. "Move in with me. Let's raise Mia together the way we always should have." Brynlee said yes without hesitation, the guilt finally loosening its grip. They told Mia in simple words, "Lyla is staying forever. She's your other mom." The little girl clapped like she had always known. Looking back, Brynlee realized the accidental text had been the catalyst, but the real change came from within. The painful awakening that love denied never truly dies, it only waits for courage. The journey had cost tears, confrontations, and years, but the redemption felt earned in every shared bedtime story, every quiet kiss when Mia wasn't looking. As they watched the sunset together, arms around each other, Brynlee understood that family wasn't the one she was born into, but the one she finally chose. True or false? Denying your true love to protect family approval always causes more pain in the end than facing the truth ever could?